Yeah. You know, the whole history of that. I mean, let me ask you this. You know, what do you think going forward with our drift and all the stuff we've brought up? What direction are we headed as a nation? Where do you think we'll go, and where should we go?
Well, I fear where it could go.
Yeah, you were thinking what I was thinking.
Well,
I think, yeah.
If you look back in history, we already have precedent for
The great empires.
Well, I'm speaking more narrowly in terms of inflationary monetary policy. In Germany, between the world wars, they underwent a lot of economic problems precisely because the Weimar Republic tried to print money their way out of the reparations levied against them by the victors in World War I. And it decimated their economy, caused people to be very hopeless about their existence, about their future, made them think that things will never change. Well, things did change for them, yes, but unfortunately it wasn't for the better. And that's actually another theme that my book gets to. Things can change, yes, it can be for the better, it can be for the worse as well. And you need to be able to have a discerning mind and figure out, okay, what do we need to do to make it change for the better so we can avoid having it change for the worse?
Yeah, you know, and that's always something too. I mean, change for the better, but so many people that I run into just don't see a forest in the trees. I mean, it's just, you know, everything is wrapped up so politically. Nobody can think long term. It's just, what am I getting for free? How do we change that mentality? I mean, how do we get in people's heads and say, look, we're going off a cliff. How do we change that?
Well, I'll tell you what, Andrew, that attitude that you just expressed, it's very, very representative of what Stephen Christensen felt early on in the book. And unfortunately for him, the way he realized everything was going off the cliff was the system came in and interfered with his life in some pretty big and bad ways. And as another character says later on in the book, it's great that they did this to Stephen. It woke him up, but we can't expect them to do that to everybody, to wake them up and knock them off the fence. That character happens to be a propagandist, and it's never explicitly said, but more implied, that what the propaganda that he produces is of the sort that educates people, brings them around, causes them to realize what's really going on. It's the sort of information that tells people, look around at what's going on in your lives and ask yourself if the answers that you are being given are really what's going on, are the real answers.
Yeah, you know, do you think that we as a country are beginning to see this? Do you see the tide turning in any way with alternative media and things like that? I mean, have more and more people woke up than, say, 5-10 years ago?
Perhaps, but when you talk about alternative media, and this is a theme I did not cover in my novel, I would have liked to, but it would have required another 100 pages.
No. Well,
it's the idea of controlled opposition. Now, you talk about alternative media out there educating people. Well, there are alternative media sources, I believe, I refer to them as controlled opposition. They talk as if they are, you know, giving people this new way out, when in fact they're just another version of the same old, same old. They're putting people to sleep just as quickly as people are being woken up. I do see a lot of positive things going on, but at the same time, I mentioned earlier the need for a discerning mind, and once again, that would be needed to sort out the good stuff from the dross that is out there from a media standpoint.
There's a lot of dross, and I don't know what
Indeed.
dross means, but I'm going to assume it's not good.
No, it's not.
I'm just kidding. Well, I do see people waking up on some things. One thing it requires in a discerning mind, it also requires somebody to reject a lifetime of what they've thought, doesn't it?
Well,
a lifetime of what
that
they've been told.
yes.
Doesn't it require, and that's, I think, a tough hurdle to get over.
Well, first they have to have a mind open enough that it would be willing to reject all this stuff that they've been told for their whole lives. Mm-hmm. But once again, a discerning mind becomes important because not everything that not everything that they have been told their whole lives is necessarily wrong. Not everything is necessarily right either. And that's the real tough part.
A lot of shades of gray.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm somebody who's very much throughout my life changed my philosophy and my views on issues and on things like that. So I feel like I'm evidence that it can happen. That if you take the time, now granted I have no life, so it's easy for me, but if you can take the time to do that and you're passionate about something, I've watched things from documentaries to reading books and on both sides of some issues and come up with new conclusions. Have you done that, or are you somebody who's always held views you have, or did you come to them throughout while growing up?
Well, mine was a very interesting journey. Once upon a time, I was more or less what I now refer to as a standard conservative.
Yeah.
Pretty much in line with the stereotype that everybody thinks of. But
I'm a recovering neocon, so I can relate.
Well, yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But then you start going through the years believing these things, and you start saying, well, wait a minute, though. How is this over here consistent with this other thing over here? I don't see how the two necessarily will go together. And through that process, I eventually came to reject what I now call standard conservatism and sort of started going along with something a little bit different.
Okay. So, would you describe yourself as well, how would you describe yourself then? I'll let you describe yourself with no stereotype.
How about just someone who wants to be left alone and someone who is more than willing to leave others alone and to not get involved unless someone's rights are violated? How about that?
That sounds like a founding person, doesn't it? A founding person back in, now the evil slaveholders that were talked about in the public schools. Let me wrap this up. Let me give you one more chance to talk about, say the book again and give it one more little wrap-up theme.
Well, the name of the novel is I-29. It is available now in ebook format from my publisher, theseashellbooks.com. Can be found on their website, theseashellbooks.com, and it is available.
Yeah. Now, are you working on a hardcover? I hear.
Yes, I am. Coming? I am in the process of getting this available in hard copy format as well, and once that's finished, it will be available on Amazon.com.
Cool. He'll be right next to me on Amazon.com probably.
Yes.
Well, our names will be pretty close.
Ah, yes, definitely.
And we'll put up the links and stuff to that at the end of the show. And I want to tell you something, folks. I'm not a big fiction reader, but I've gotten into this. And I have a few things in my head I'd compare it to, but I won't tell you out loud. One last, also to tell everybody, it's only $7 to download.
Yes, that's right. $7 to buy it, ebook format. That's one of the big benefits to having electronic books over hard copy. You don't have quite all the overhead, all the physical expenses, paper and ink, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
You may not know this, but many leading titles now sell more in their ebook version than in hard copy.
Really? I didn't know that. See, I'm a lay in bed in my shorts read kind of guy. And
I hear that loud and clear.
I can't quite do it. Let me ask you one last thing.
Sure.
I know this is just came out, but do you have think about another one? Are you pondering writing something else?
Yes, actually, I have begun a follow-up, I guess you could say. It doesn't.
I-31?
No.
I'm kidding.
Right now, the title I'm thinking it's going to be North Star Fate.
North Star Fate.
Yes, the events of the book.
It's not a hockey book, is it?
No, it's not. No, it's a follow-up to I-29. It takes place within the same storyline. It's not going to have any of the same characters. It's going to take place a year later in the Twin Cities area, and it's going to kind of fast forward to, okay, how have things developed since this rebellion has begun up in the Red River Valley?
Cool. Well, we'll look forward to that. I'll be downloading that, no question about it. Matt, thanks a lot for coming in.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Great to have you. Get out there, my friends. Get my friend's book and enjoy a nice reading experience. I want to mention a few things about some shows coming up. Some more District 281 stuff coming up. We know you people are going to love me even more. We're going to have some. We're going to have a camera at the tax rally and some highlights from that. And until then, I will see you next time. I am out of here.